Mr. Speaker, sir, we Nagas are simple-minded and we have a very clean thought. We think that everybody is equal. But one thing I want to remind, or rather caution this House, of course subjected to correction, is we think that Article 371A is always there to protect us. As a matter of fact, I agree, Article 371A is a constitutional guarantee to the people of Nagaland. But has this article over the years, as guaranteed, safeguarded us in all aspects? I don't think so, and I have some proof and evidence. Mr. Speaker, sir, Article 371A is like one of the best weapons under the Constitution, which guarantees to safeguard our rights, our heritage, our laws, our practices. But for me, this Article 371A has been in cold storage for too long. We have never made use of it. It's like an old rusted gun. Once we tried to polish it, we tried to make use of it, but it misfired. For example, in 2010, under our same leader, he was the chief minister, I was also the minister then, we adopted a resolution on petroleum and natural gas. And that resolution empowers us. We said that we are empowered under Article 371A. So we will pass our own resolution as far as exploration of oil and natural gas is concerned. And as soon as we pass that resolution, an unstarred question in the Rajya Sabha was put by our late former MP, C.M. Chang. And the answer came as a surprise shock to the entire Nagas. So I'll read a small para here. As soon as the matter came up to the notice of Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, it was taken up with the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Ministry of Home Affairs has advised that Article 371A does not confer legislative powers to the Legislative Assembly of Nagaland for regulation and development of mineral oil. It's stated very clearly. The power to make laws in respect of subject covered under List 1 rests with the Parliament. They say that all this rests with the Parliament. And so they have given us this gun, but it is, when we tried to make use of it, it misfired. Then an order came from the Home Ministry asking, the matter has accordingly been taken up with the Chief Minister of Nagaland, requesting him to withdraw the notification and resend the Nagaland Petroleum and Natural Gas Resolution 2012 as well as related resolutions. Therefore here, why I'm cautioning this House is we should be very careful in our thoughts and our dealings. We should not always think that Article 71A is there to protect us. It will protect us if only we make use of it and we pass resolutions in the House, in the Assembly. Coming to UCC, human memory is very short, Mr. Speaker. I want to take you back in 2019 Lok Sabha elections, where the NDA government, including the BJP RSS, with commitment, they had gone to the elections with some few promises, and they call that mega promises. Their mega promise one is the Ram temple in Ayodhya. Our Hindu brothers, they believe that their god Ram was born in Ayodhya, and so they had to build a temple. So their mega promise one is to build a Ram temple in Ayodhya, and today it's on the verge of completion, and in January I'm very sure they're going to inaugurate this, which will become a booster for the party's election campaign. Mr. Speaker, sir, their mega promise too. Let us recall Jammu and Kashmir. Their mega promise too is the abrogation of Article 370. Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir was also done away with. The two mega promises, 1, 2, is fulfilled. Now today, what state is Jammu and Kashmir in? Jammu and Kashmir state was divided into two union territories. One is Ladakh, one is J&K. And since 2019, in J&K there has been presidential rule. Until now, it is continued against the wishes of the people. They are seeking for elections, pleading for elections, but the center is given a blind ear and they are not listening to them. Moreover, all the rules and regulation is going against them, especially the Ladakh road. There is no road. The road is in such a horrible condition. The road is like rivers. But they levy heavy tax on the people. Network, so on and so forth, is limited to few areas and places only. They have even brought up prepaid smart electric meters. Where even though you have not used the electricity, you have to advance, pay the government. Then property tax on every household owners is levied very highly. These are the conditions that is happening. I have the papers with me. I'll be supplying it to the Chief Minister and your good office. Their mega promise 3 is UCC, Mr. Speaker, sir. Uniform Civil Code, Hindu-based nationalistic politics of Jan Shan, which is under process. Mr. Speaker, sir, if I'm to state UCC in my own words, very simply, not trying to target any party or individual, let me define it this way. Uniform Civil Code is a subject matter propounded by BJP-RS, which is deeply rooted in Hindutva. It is the foundation of totalitarian rule of a dictator. We must remember uniform law and dictatorships are two sides of the coin. We have seen it in the past that only dictators have enforced uniform law successfully. UCC will remove pluralism and diversity, and thereby it will fulfill the dream of one nation, one religion, one culture. That means the country is heading for a dictatorship rule if UCC is enforced in the entire country. Either that will be the end of minorities or disintegration of India, where our rights and equalities will be forgotten. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a proof, as an evidence, let me cite some few examples where uniform law was successful. For example, General Franco of Spain, Saddam Hussein of Iraq, Mussolini of Great Britain, Hitler of Germany, Stalin of Russia, and in the present context, it's Kim Jong-un of North Korea. It's a dictatorship rule. And so uniform law is compulsory, it is applied, and it's successful. So therefore, this uniform law, UCC, is not applicable in our land. That is what I want to say. Mr. Speaker, to me, subjected to correction, there are two important issues surrounding UCC, in my opinion. Rights and equalities of citizens on one hand, and on the other hand, national integration. These are important, no doubt, but any attempt to force it on diverse communities across the country will be futile and counterproductive. It is a direct threat to the fabrics of the communitarian tribal ethos and values. To impose it on us is to dismiss our culture as primitive, uncivilized, and inhuman, and it questions our ability to find a solution from within to address human problems, including rights and equality, and to contribute to the national building at large. Moreover, to impose UCC is to go against the basic norms and preconditions that have gone into the making of Indian Constitution, like diversity, unity, federalism, secularism, etc. It ignores the rich and complex historical background of the nation against which the Constitution was built. It is betraying the hope and the trust of the minorities, especially the tribal communities, for whom constitutional provisions like Article 371A or 6th Schedule have been provided to protect and promote our customs, values, and practices, things which have given us a sense of identity, worthy, belongingness, and purpose. One must not dishonor the existing constitutional guarantees through which modern India was built. The spirit of Indian nationalism or national integration cannot be achieved by questioning and insulting the wisdom and heritage of the minorities. In reality, it is the issue and questions of personal matter that constitutes the heart and soul of modern democracy and liberty, for instance, religious freedom. India today is admired as a secular country because of its rich culture, heritage, and diversity. Why do we have to do it away all of a sudden? Instead of trying to override matters that comes under personal law may provide platforms for diverse communities to showcase their culture, heritage, and wisdom so that genuine interaction and cross-cultural learning become possible. Such an initiative will forge greater understanding among the diverse communities across the nation. It will also inculcate a sense of respect, peace, and unity, which are fundamental in building India as a strong state. It must be noted and put on record, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the idea of LADF, that is our MLA's Local Area Development Fund, and the LADS of MP Fund in the country has its origin in tribal wisdom of the Nagas. Even the concept of communitization of basic institutions like health and education that has merited national and international recognition comes from the communitarian ethos of the tribes Nagas, the care for one and all, and not to leave anyone out of the pursuit for good. Till an appropriate time, Mr. Speaker, sir, I endorse the wisdom and suggestion of 21st Law Commission, who observes that even the Law Commission has given its recommendation, Mr. Speaker, sir. We must at least take the Law Commission's advice. The Law Commission has stated, in the absence of any consensus on the Uniform Civil Code, the Commission felt that the best way forward may be to preserve the diversity of personal law, but at the same time, ensure that personal law do not contradict fundamental rights guaranteed under the Constitution of India. In order to achieve this, it is desirable that all personal law relating to matters of family must first be codified to the greatest extent possible, and the inequalities that have crept into codified law should be remedied by amendments. India must trust the diverse communities to find wisdom to address issues of human rights for which within insight, instead of coercing them from above. It is high time we do away with elements of hegemony and imperialism that only sow seeds of division and distrust. As a legislator and as a representative of the tribal community from Nagaland, Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand here vehemently opposing any threat, be it in modern Western individualistic or Indian majoritarian values and ethos, which are not only incompatible but also pose a threat to our tribal communitarian ethos and values. Last but not least, Mr. Speaker, I really want to thank the Honorable Chief Minister and his entire cabinet for taking up this very important issue and taking the whole team to Delhi and getting verbal assurances from the government of India that it will not affect the tribals. But I want to state, let us not take verbal assurances for granted. If at all it has to be guaranteed, it should come in black and white protecting us. Therefore, I once again move this August House to pass a resolution rejecting the bill, UCC bill in total in this second session of the 14th House. Thank you.
I rise to address this House on the issue of the Uniform Civil Code, which has been making headlines in recent past and has raised deep anxiety among our people. And it has been splashed all over the newspapers by the civil societies, tribal hosts, also in the social network, and groups or individuals are making a lot of comments. And that's how, sir, you are aware, on the 8th September this month, we called all the civil societies, the tribal hosts, and some prominent leaders, and we had a thorough discussion, and we have heard them. Then in unison, everybody was against it. And therefore, in the cabinet, we had decided, 8th September cabinet, we had deliberated in all these issues, and that we should bring to the House, have deliberations and discussion. And that's how today we have picked up this subject. And I'm extremely happy that many members had spoken on this at length and share your views, even giving their backgrounds. Therefore, I want to thank all the participants and all those who could not speak also due to time constraint. I feel that we are in unison. Our minds are together because this has been in discussion for quite some time. Sir, you are aware that the Government of India had appointed the 22nd Law Commission of India on the 21st of February 2020. Subsequently, the terms of panel has been extended up to 31st August 2024. And seeking opinions, as mentioned, lakhs of peoples are submitting their views, their opinions for and against. So it is most appropriate that Nagas also discuss and give our opinions. And therefore, today we are doing what our people want to do, and that's how we are deliberating. On the 14th June 2023, the Law Commission of India issued a notice inviting views again, the ideas from all stakeholders on the subject matter of having uniform civil code throughout the country. Speaker, sir, the apparent objective of the UCC is to have a single law and personal matters such as marriage and divorce, custody and guardianship, adoption and maintenance, succession and inheritance across the country. For all the communities and the religious groups, which in our view should pose a threat to our country, our customary laws, social practices, and religious practices, which will endanger or encroachment of, in the event of imposing of uniform civil code, as this House, all these people had expressed. Sensing the gravity and urgency of the matter, especially with respect to the people of the state, our government has, through a cabinet decision, submitted its view to this 22nd Law Commission on the 4th of July 2023, which some honorable members in their speech had also mentioned. We have conveyed our unambiguous opinion on the implementation of UCC in Nagaland and categorically submitted that Nagaland be completely exempted from the purview of UCC on the following grounds. One, the history of Nagaland, which has provided certain protection since the pre-independence British era, such as the Bengal Eastern Frontier Regulation Act 1873. Two, the 9-point agreement of 1947, an insurance on non-interference policy of Government of India in the social and religious practices, customary laws of the people. Then the 16-point agreement, which eventually led to the creation of the state of Nagaland, which providing the constitutional safeguard for the people of the state in terms of religious or social practices, Naga customary law and practices, administration of civil and criminal justice involving customary law, and ownership and transfer of land and its resources. To my mind, as we learned from the history, India was never a country. It was a subcontinent. And we learned that there are more than 565 princely states. But how it could come together? To come together, to join force, and to oust the British imperialism, the colonial era. And that's how they were brought together. Some had ascended early, others ascended later. For Nagas, our Naga movement was even before India independence. We have never ascended to be a part of India. Only this so-called 16-point agreement, and of which Article 371A in the Constitution of India for a special protection had been made. And that is the only document that Nagas had ascended to be within the Indian Union. So it is utmost important that we understand, if this is to be done away, or if they don't respect this, then the agreement will be destroyed. Then we'll go back to zero position. And therefore, I'm quite clear that we should be exempted, whether we say or not, like how they did in the 73rd Amendment of rural local bodies. So, we have history, the legacy of British, and the 16-point agreement, Article 371A. Therefore, today, it is good that we reassert. It was made very clear in the petition by the State Cabinet that such an approach is a direct threat to the practice of our customary laws, social practices, and the religious practices. Speaker, sir, it is amply clear that UCC will have far-reaching implications across all sections and communities of the state, and therefore the state government felt it extremely necessary to have more broad-based deliberation and involve all stakeholders to gather their views and opinion. Accordingly, as mentioned, we had consultative meeting on the 1st September 2023. We, the representative of tribal halls and civil societies, where they all expressed a strong resentment and raised objection to the idea of having a uniform civil code. For absolute clarity, I wish to jog our memory and read out that the safeguard provided to the state of Nagaland, that her people under Article 371A of the Constitution of India, which says, and I quote again, this is the outcome of 16th Part Agreement. Notwithstanding anything in this Constitution, no act of Parliament in respect of religious or social practices of the Nagas, Naga customary law procedures, and administration of civil and criminal justice involving decisions according to Naga customary laws, and ownership and transfer of land and its resources shall apply to the state of Nagaland unless the Legislative Assembly of Nagaland by a resolution so decide. Unquote. So, it is a very clear case. On the 31st July, we were supposed to have a consultation meeting with the civil societies. On that, on 28th, I got a call from Union Home Secretary, and he conveyed a message of Union Home Minister to me that you please cancel your meeting with the civil societies. Come to Delhi and let us discuss first before you take up any issue. So I said, well, I can't disobey the Union Home Minister's request. I will come, but I will come with the whole cabinet and meet Home Minister. That's how I share with my cabinet colleagues, and we all went to Delhi. In Nagaland House, when we met the A.K. Mishra, the director IB, and then the joint secretary, in presence of all the cabinet and chief secretary and home commissioner, senior officers, we had deliberated all these issues. And on the 5th, we were supposed to meet the Union Home Minister, but he postponed to 6th, one day postponed, because Home Secretary wanted to have a separate discussion with the Chief Secretary of Nagaland. And after Chief Secretary gave a thorough briefing from his side to Union Home Secretary, and he briefed the Union Home Minister. So only then we met Union Home Minister Amit Shah ji, and all the cabinets. We met him and he happily received us. And what he committed, what he said, that it will not affect the tribals. It will not affect your Northeast. He even said that Christians will not be affected. But we have not seen the document, and it is in discussion, and views are being taken to the views are only being taken by law commission. But before my cabinet arrived in Delhi, I also met Kiren Rijiju, and we had discussion, and he gave me a draft copy of the law commission. And it was clearly inserted that tribals will not be affected, and states are the people who have the protection of the constitution provision. Example, Nagaland, Article 371A. So I believe that will not be affected. It is yet to be introduced in the parliament, but yet some states have also already passed their resolution that they should not be affected. And that's how it is also appropriate. Though we are confident that because of Article 371A in the Constitution of India, we feel confident that it will not be, but we cannot take chance. And the civil society, the whole public is against it, particularly in Nagaland. That's why we better do our duty and do what is necessary. Many of you have spoken very well and to the point, but for us, a small state like us, our assembly cannot pass a resolution to confront with central government, and we cannot protect any other state by our resolution. Therefore, in our language, we will not use we object, we are against it, the UCC, or we oppose, will not use like that. But I feel that, and I propose that this August House, the 14th House of the Nagaland Legislative Assembly, to unanimously adopt and pass a resolution for exemption. For exemption, because we have the Article 371A, a special provision, and therefore we should be exempted from the proposed enactment of Uniform Civil Code in application to the state of Nagaland. Let us first protect ourselves. We are alliance to the central government led by BJP. We are not, we will confront if necessary, but it is not no time, therefore we should not oppose the UCC. We should not reject or object or pass against the resolution. But since we have the protection, and this is the only agreement, and out of the agreement, the 371A in the Constitution of India has given that provision of our position status. We are confident that Government of India will not betray the Nagas, Government of India will not betray themselves, and they will uphold that 371A, and therefore our request and our resolution, though in a simple way, but firmly, we should pass a resolution. So with this, I thank you for giving time, and I thank all the honorable members for giving your views and point out whatever is necessary. Thank you.